Our second priority that we talked about was correctness of finish. And so when we decide to evaluate correctness of finish, they're what we call external indicators. These are areas on this steer that you can see without handling if he's adequately finished or not. So the first place we look is probably going to be in their brisket area or their chest floor. So right in here between their front legs, this is what we call their brisket area. And so this should be fairly full. If they're a fattened animal, they shouldn't sink in here behind their shoulder. They should be pretty full and smooth right in here behind their shoulder. Another external indicator is their flank area. So an animal that is adequately finished will have some feel there through his flank. You can see that. You don't have to grab it. You don't have to touch it. You can see when it's full and it's flanking cod. Then we come back here around their hip area. Some of these animals put on what we call fat pones. And that's just this pone of fat right here that develops right around the tail head. So another thing, an animal that's adequately finished will usually have some type of pone fat on him. So those are most of our external indicators of finish. So when we go in the handle, like we talked about before, making that C motion, animals are going to fatten from front to rear. And so when you handle that animal, probably the fattest part of him should be right in here behind his shoulder. That's where they're going to put on their first amount of fat when they go ahead and developing into a fat animal or a fat steer. So again, we're going to make that gentle C motion like we talked about earlier, just gently pressing there. We're checking for how smooth he is in that handle. We don't want to pick up any of his rib cage there. Some people do like to grab the flanks. I personally don't. That's just another way maybe of getting kicked or getting another contestant hurt. We can, like we said, I can obviously see if one's fat enough in his flank. So through the use of your external indicators of fat, his brisket, his flank and his cod, and his tailhead, his fat pones right about his tailhead, combined with what you handle with your hands, that should be a pretty efficient and accurate way to decipher if an animal's finished enough to be a market steer.